Hey, what's going on, everybody? Max here with BB, and today for 10 Minutes Max, we're going to be talking about one of my favorite topics, Andy OX68, the golden dog, the golden mix-up in the portfolio, a ticker that I hold very near and dear to my heart, and why I think you probably should as well. It's something that we've definitely covered before on this channel, but I think it's time for a solo video, a comprehensive and thorough update on Andy OX68. So guys, let's get into it. Let's not waste any more time. So first, we're going to start over here on TradingView. All right. And what I have done in advance is just to save a little bit of time, because I always go over, is I've got Andy up top and ETH down below. And something that I've been preaching since Andy was just a little baby, just a sub 10 mil micro cap when we all bought it here at BB, is this is the most premier ETH beta on the entire planet. What does that mean? That means that basically there's a correlation to Ethereum. When ETH goes up, Andy goes up. When ETH goes down, Andy goes down. And you can only hope that when ETH goes up, Andy pumps way more. And when ETH goes down, yes, percentage-wise, Andy will drop more because it's ETH beta, but it will hold structure better. That's premier ETH beta. And today, we're going to start off by me showing you some of the more high time frame and important pivot points for Andy. And then we're going to get into some higher time frame charts, why I think it's going to go to those levels, so on and so forth, right? So let's start by marking out key pivots on the ETH chart down below. All right. So the pump originated for ETH, this little pump here, September 18th. Andy began pumping that exact same day, right? Green dot, green dot. And then we keep moving along, right? You can see there's little like local pivots. Happy to mark those out as well. We'll just, we'll do this one for now. ETH tops, Andy tops. Same thing over here. They're topping on the same days, right? I'll keep marking these out, and then we'll do the ones on the bottom as well. All right. So now let's mark out the downside of the pivots as well. We'll put those in red. Put this in red. Perfect. Guess we could technically do this one too. That's fine. Mark out this one, mark out this one, mark out the most recent one. How about where we're at currently? Okay, so now you should be able to pretty clearly see how these two are moving together. When ETH moves up, Andy moves up. But by how much more, right? Let's take a measured move. On this first move, we'll make this green because it's a pump, right? ETH moved up 19%, rounding up a little bit. And Andy moved up 225%, right? Now, how about to the downside? We'll be fair, right? Andy dropped 46%. And ETH from that same point dropped 15.5, give or take. All right. And now how about the recent pump from this low, right? ETH currently up basically 13%. And Andy from that same pivot point to where it's currently at is up 41. And if you wanted to measure to the high, Andy went up 53 and ETH went up, 13.5, right? But you're seeing the relationship very clearly here. It's automatic. It's very tightly correlated. It's very obvious. It's measurable. And I'm just using the most recent data. I could go back, 3 months and show you all throughout this chart. I mean, look at this. Going back over here, right? ETH sells off. Andy sells off, right? ETH puts in a bottom. Andy puts in a bottom, right? ETH pumps. Andy pumps, right? So you can very clearly see the correlation. I just wanted to show you this local example because it's fresh price action. Everybody's looking at it, right? It's right in front of us. It's actionable. But what you're staring at here is confirmed the most premier, in my view, ETH beta on the planet. I watch hundreds of tickers and nothing is moving as tightly correlated and as reflexively to ETH as Andy. It's a very highly levered ETH long without the risk of liquidation, right? It makes a tough case for why even hold ETH, right, to begin with. So I just wanted to point this out to begin with because it's extremely important to understand why something is moving so that you can make educated decisions and go, okay, if I think that let me remove these, for example. All right, I'm looking at ETH right here and I'm like, I really think that ETH could pull back to this level, right? Well, if ETH pulls back to this level, then you're probably going to get Andy to pull back, down into this region, right? Which is really in the high time frame, not a big deal, but I'm just trying to show you, you know, you can trade this stuff just like anything else. And, I'm going to look at this right here and go, all right, ETH has been in this giant range down here. What happens when ETH breaks out of this range to the upside? Well, looking at this chart, I would think that if ETH breaks above this range to the top side, well, then you're probably going to see Andy do the exact same thing, right? And this is only ETH going to 3,200, 3,400. Imagine when ETH goes to, 5K, 6K, 7K, 10K. And we're going to talk about all that. Okay. And we're going to talk about all that. But something I want to show you beforehand is just how Andy has been moving so unbelievably well this cycle. So we're actually going to jump over to the BB terminal. Okay. Now, what I have right down here, and I've excluded Andy just for the meantime, right? So here's a spaghetti chart. You can very easily toggle on and off, tickers, things like that. And this is just going back to, basically like the bottom when these things, really before they started to move, right, off of their bottoms. I'd say everything started to kind of pick up again right around middle of September. All right. So what this is a spaghetti chart here on the BB terminal. If you want to sign up, we're in beta. You can check it out down below before prices go up. But what we have down here is Doge, Pepe, ETH, and Brett, right? ETH being our major, and then again, Doge, the king, the oldest king of meme coins, Pepe, the king of this cycle for large cap memes, and Brett, one of the top performers, $1 billion plus meme of this cycle, and again, part of the boys club. You can see percentages here. Doge, since this high time frame pivot swing low here, is up 12.5. ETH is up 14.5. Pepe's up almost 45, and Brett's up 47. All pretty comparable, and you can see how they're all moving, kind of in tandem with one another, right? They all kind of move up and then move down together, and then move up together, and then move down together, and then move up together, right? You can see how they're all kind of moving together very clearly on the spaghetti chart. And that's one of my favorite things about it. Now let me put Andy on there just to put it into perspective for you. Okay? We're going to throw Andy up in this chart and take a look at it. This is again from that same pivot point. That same pivot point, that same swing low, September 18th, everything starts moving up together, but Andy moves up way more, right? And they all kind of top right around here, and then they all kind of bottom right around here, and they all kind of locally top right around here, and then they bottom locally right around here. But you can see how dramatic the outperformance from Andy is. Let me remove it again. You'd look at this and go, "Oh wow." You could go, "Oh wow." Look at ETH is up 13 and Brett and Pepe are up 42. And by the way, I own a lot of Brett and I own a lot of Pepe. Diversification is very important, right? But I'm just saying it's going to be very, very difficult to outperform Andy. When I throw Andy on this chart, it really makes you think if I can stomach the volatility and I can stomach when everything pulls back, Andy's going to pull back a little bit harder, and you can stomach the volatility, then when the market turns into, up only and we start getting a lot of froth and excess, this is just concrete data. I'm just showing you right now how all of these majors are moving together. Pepe goes down, Andy goes down. Pepe goes up, Andy goes up. Brett goes up, Andy goes up. But look at the percentage difference here. The beta is off the charts. The beta is completely off the charts. And this is really important to understand how these all move together, right? So I just wanted to show you this. Also, really cool feature. Again, you can easily throw on Bitcoin here, and we'll put it in, put it in orange. Remove Andy so you can even see it. So you could look at, you know, Here's Bitcoin and Pepe and ETH right here. So, again, just very convenient and easy way to look at how something is performing. And again, this is very cool function here on the BB terminal. But let's get back to TradingView, okay? Because I want to talk about where I potentially see Andy going higher time frame this cycle. All right, so I showed you how it's moving against ETH right here, and then I also showed you how it's tracking against some of the other hot names. Just to name a few. Again, I cherry picked. Just I could throw 100 different names on there, but just wanted to show you that. All right, so let's clean this chart up. Oops. Let's clean this chart up. We've got Andy up top here, and I'm going to show you some of my higher time frame targets for this cycle. And we can take this off of yellow. We'll put this in green and red. Let's put it back to a normal chart. We're going to put this in log mode, and I'm going to show you some drawings that I have preset here. All right. So let's take a look at this. This is a very effective strategy for marking out tops, and I call it high time frame fib confluence. Okay, so you put your chart in log mode in a bull market, and let's go back and let's take a look at the first time that this played out. So our first range over here for Andy, we had range high, range low, and then obviously a very clearly defined mid-range, multiple rejections. Then it blasts off. You had a little local rejection here at your 1.618, but ultimately smashed through it. Your 2.618 of your first range is right here, as you can see in orange. Okay, or it's red. So range, 1.618 fib extension, 2.618 fib extension of the first range. Okay. But then we took some time, we cooled off a little bit, and we formed another range. Range high, range low, and then again, very clearly defined mid-range. And the thing to note here, and just remember, the first range is set. It's down here. The first thing to note is, again, range high, range low, mid-range. The 1.618 right here of this current range is at the same spot within reason, little difference, of the 2.618 of this first range. And look at where our all-time high was so far. It was at the 2.618 of our first range and the 1.618 of our second range. Okay. So it called the all-time high perfectly so far. What do we have left here? Let me remove some of these little drawings here. So now we've got more fib confluence all throughout the chart. The 3.618 of our first range, which is valid because the 1.618 played and the 2.618 played. So that means the 3.618 is also in play. It's a valid fib set. All right. Our 3.618 of the first range is up here. And then additionally, the 3.618 of our second range is up here. But let's start a little bit lower. The 2.618 of this range, so range high to range low with mid-range, the 2.618 is right here. Well, wouldn't you know it? Range high of our current range to range low with mid-range, the 1.618 is exactly at the 2.618 of our previous range. And that's at 1.3 billion market cap. Okay? Pretty incredible how those line up together. And I showed you how it played on the first one. But then again, I was just going over this. I got a little bit ahead of myself. Look at the 3.618 fib confluence up here. The 3.618 of our first range, the 3.618 of our first range is at the same spot as the 3.618 of our second range at 5 billion market cap. And I've showed you very clearly how Andy moves against the broader market, how it moves against ETH, how it moves like Pepe, but with more gains, like Brett, everything. Doge, it's just turbocharged. There's also another high time frame fib set of confluence here that I think could make the case for 10 billion market cap. So if you think about this in terms of like accumulations, so you had your first accumulation down here. We just talked about this one. brief pause at the 1.618, and then global top so far at the 2.618 being the red dot. If we view all of this as one giant reaccumulation, the longer the base, the higher into space. It's a very real thing. The longer you're in crypto, you will see that the longer you accumulate, the harder the breakout is. If we're doing an elongated version of this right over here, then what you might in fact see is a straight shot up to the 2.618 of this current range. Right? So accumulation to 2.618. Accumulation to 2.618. That would get you right up perfectly to a 10 billion market cap. And if you think about it, it's really not that crazy, right? Because Andy's sitting at 155 million market cap right now, and ETH is at 2,600. What if ETH goes up 500%? What if ETH goes 10, 12, 13, 14, 15K? You know, could Andy go up 50, 60, 70x from here? Yeah, if ETH goes up, 5 to 7x, Andy certainly could, right? We're going to need ETH to do well, but it certainly could. And if we think that Pepe could go to, 30 to 60 to 70 billion potentially, those are some targets that I'm eyeing. Is it too crazy to think that Andy being beta to Pepe, you can see him behind me in this beautiful piece of artwork, part of the boys club, Pepe, Andy, Brett, and Landwolf? Is it crazy to think if Pepe goes to 50 billion, Andy could go to, a 1/5 valuation of Pepe? I don't think that's crazy at all. And I have the numbers and the data to back it up, right? Which I've shown you guys a lot of that today. So I just wanted to go over a lot of this stuff, right? I mean, Andy is trading just impeccably well, right? And we could even look at it against, let's look at it against its ETH pair, right? This is Andy against ETH right here. So what does this chart mean exactly? What this chart means is that when it's moving up, Andy's a better hold than ETH. When it's moving down, ETH's a better hold than Andy. We're dividing Andy against ETH to see which one is performing better. And I would argue this is the true valuation right here, because Andy is, in its truest sense, beta to Ethereum, right? Andy is beta to Ethereum. So what are we seeing right here? This zone right here was your all-time high distribution zone, where people were taking profits in Andy back into ETH, hence the pair bled. Then we came back and, we found our demand zone, obviously held once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, blast off. Typically, when you get something, anything, a ticker, to reaccept back into its all-time high supply region, which of course is above 2 critical levels and pivot points on the chart, you're destined for all-time highs, right? I'm anticipating this to eventually break up sooner rather than later, okay? And then moving over here, and we can look at Andy Pepe, right? And this was an MEV wick. So let me actually change this pair here. So let's look at Andy 2, just because I don't like the MEV wick. So this is the real chart right here. This is the one we should be using. That one's the on-chain one, which had a giant scam wick that wasn't real. So what we have right here is Andy versus Pepe. Pepe is the alpha, Andy is the beta. So what are we looking at? When this chart moves up, Andy's outperforming Pepe. When it's moving down, Pepe's outperforming Andy. Pretty incredible that we can actually chart this against it, right? Here we go. Look at the trend line. Look how many times the trend line played. And then you finally break out. You're bullish. You built demand here, which is your green box. Came back, held it, and now we're moving up, right? And this is what I was showing you guys on the spaghetti chart, right? Andy should, as beta to Pepe, outperform it. You should see, by the end of the cycle, you should see the Andy Pepe pair way up in here. You should. And if it isn't, then just hold Pepe because it's safer, right? But the fact that you can chart these against each other is, it's all the proof that you need. These aren't random, right? It's not like some random coincidence that there's this diagonal trend line that, has had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 taps on it. And then when it finally breaks out, we pop up like 300% on this pair. It's not some giant conspiracy or illusion. This is just data, right? So then you ask yourself, all right, I'm bullish on Pepe and the Andy Pepe pair looks really good. Then I'm ultra bullish on Andy. That's what this chart tells me, right? But anyways, guys, that's it for today. Thanks so much for tuning in. Before you guys go, please consider liking and also subscribing to the channel. And before you go, consider checking out the links in the description below where you can sign up for the BB terminal plus the Telegram alerts channel that comes with it, guys. We have hundreds of awesome indicators. It's your all-in-one tool, everything you could ever need or want to succeed in these markets. It's got portfolio tracking, derivatives data, heat map, Agar, PCA indicators, order executions coming in like a couple weeks. We're adding hundreds, if not thousands, of indicators to this thing, and we want you guys to use it. So check it out. Prices are going up very soon, guys. And if you really want to take your trading to the next level, guys, check out the BB Terminal plus Telegram plus Discord packages, guys. Plus Discord packages. The Discord has positional channels, 100% transparency, and 3 hours a day of private live voice calls with Q&A with me and the entire BB team, guys. You need your pack to succeed in these markets. This market is too big to watch alone, and we want to be that group for you guys. And we share everything, things that we don't talk about here on YouTube or on X, guys. So definitely consider checking that out. Take your training to the next level. Find your edge. Join the BB Discord. And again, if you're in the Discord, you get the BB terminal for free for no additional charge. Absolutely last but not least, guys, consider checking out the BB Academy, guys. We got a free one where I teach you how to chart just like I showed you in this video, totally free. But if you really want to level it up and take your game to the next level and master the art of TA and FA, me and the entire BB team put together, it took us about 6 months to build what we would consider to be one of the best trading educational courses on the entire market, guys. There's a lot of people out there teaching TA for free. Some are doing it paid. We do both. We do a lot for free. We do paid. There's a big difference between a paid product and a free product, and you guys will see that right away. Save yourself a lot of time and a lot of money learning the wrong strategies. Let us sift through all of that for you, and you get lifetime access. So check out the BB Academy in the link below. But guys, thanks so much for being here. Greatly appreciate it, and we will see you guys tomorrow. Take care.